Guys, happy Monday. I'm gonna try to make this video quick. I know last week's video was a little long, and I'm recording this video as Melvin is taking his nap, so it's about 4:30 EST right now while I'm going over this. And I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I normally save Nas for last, but I've got some feedback and most of you guys want to see Nas markups anyway, so I'm gonna start with Nas and just go down my list that I have. So last week, I believe I was already in this trade, and I was expecting Nas to come up to this next green zone. However, I drew another trend line and price respected this trend line. Once price broke out of this green zone, that's where I was supposed to enter for sales. But I missed that trade. But if you guys had the same zones and everything, here's where I would have been entering for a sale, and I probably would have sold down to this blue zone. And I probably would have just waited after that. Then we saw price come back up. I was trying to sell because I saw price was respecting this zone back down to this level that it was at. So that's that setup here. I had a wiki week last week, so this just goes to show I hit stop loss too. I did TP, it did hit like my TP1, and I believe this was my TP2. So price came, took me out, and then came to my TP2, but ultimately respected this uptrend line. The next day I was looking for buy setups. I just missed my entry. But right here, when price, it kind of broke this trend line, not the cleanest break, but this would have been the retest entry, and I would have bought back up to this zone. So, and this another day. So that's cool. I'm glad that I have these zones here. So hopefully you guys are kind of trying to mimic my zones and see how price reacts to these zones. Price, respected or, retested this trend line, respected this buy trend line that it was forming from here. So I would have bought from here. And then Friday, I was looking to buy to this green zone. This was another one where I got wicked out, and then it ultimately hit TP, but I was looking for a sell from this green zone ultimately, and I got that, and I was just selling that one back down to this level that it reached earlier. So overall, still a good week. That was last week. So this week, what I am looking for, I entered into a buy from this zone twice. So this was kind of like Sunday, right when market opened. This was my TP, so that got hit. I ended up actually holding this trade, and opening bell got really close, but I actually didn't get exit out of that trade. So I TP'd here, and then it came back down, closed me out break even, and then it actually went up to where I was targeting to. So I'm looking for price to kind of enter into this zone some more. I really want to see if price is going to come back up to this trend line is ultimately where I'm looking for price to go, and then see how price reacts off of this. This is a 1 hour trend line. And then if we do see some sells, I'm looking for price to come down to my minus 6.8, this monthly level, if price does respect this trend line and kind of break back below this zone or respect that zone. Now if price breaks above that trend line, I'd be looking to take price here. So that's kind of my setup for this week for Nas. I'm looking to see if it's going to come to this trend line and then what price is going to do from here. Also keep in mind this week is NFP week. If you don't know what NFP week is, non-farm payroll. So it just means a lot of news comes out this week. The market is kind of volatile. A lot of new traders are advised to kind of sit this week out and watch. I say make sure you're following like break and retest of trend lines or breaks of your zones, being very cautious with your entries and know that the market is going to be volatile this week. I do advise not trading on Friday, because that's when the bulk of the US news is released. And that's when the markets are really, really volatile. So I would say stay away from Friday. If you do want to see the news that's going to come out for the week, you can go to places like my FX book. So this is how you can look at the economic calendar. I normally set mine to, okay, so when I'm looking at news, I don't really look at the no impact, low impact, or medium impact. I just want to see the high impact news. So I did that here, high impact. And then you just go to the bottom and save, and then it will change. And this is all the high impact news that's came out, that's about to come out. And you're going to see a lot of news because it's in a few weeks. And so this is for all throughout the week. Like, we're just on Wednesday and we're scrolling. So be cautious of that. If you're trading AUD pairs, then you might want to pay attention to the time and what's going on with that. Understanding news is a whole different ballpark, and I'm not the one to ask for that. I'm still understanding news myself, but I'm cautious. I might even close trades. Like if I'm trading Euro, I might go ahead and close my Euro trades at that time and look for another entry later. So that is news. Really quickly, I'm going to look at the DXY. So last time I was going over the DXY, I think we were breaking above this zone. Price just kept shooting up. So I drew a new trend line. So I want to see if DXY breaks below this trend line. I would just take it to this zone. And if it breaks below that zone, go to this next zone. And then if it bounces off that zone, it might keep pushing up. I do have a fib, and it only had like a 23 retracement on the fib. So that's like a shallow retracement. So I want to see if it's going to come a little lower before pushing back up. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for the DXY, maybe a little bit of a sell before continuing like this big uptrend that we've been in. All right, AUDUSD. I think, yes, so last Monday, price was around here. I was looking to take it up to this zone. So whenever you watch the video, hopefully you got a chance to enter when price got to the zone. Price did not break above this zone, so I just drew a trend line. When price broke below this trend line, you could have sold down to this next zone. And now price is kind of breaking through that zone. I ended up drawing fibs. Hopefully you can read my fibs. I know it's a lot for people who do understand fibs. I drew this from A to B. Price ended up coming to the 618 and then selling down to the minus 27. So we can't see a reversal right here, but I'm like waiting, and that's why I don't really have like a clear setup for AUDUSD this week. I want to see if price is actually going to come down to this zone before buying up. But I did draw a minor trend line, so if we see price break and retest here, I actually want to see it break above this purple level before I start entering for buys, and then I would buy to this green zone. And if we break above here, then I would be taking it like to this blue zone. So kind of just going zone to zone on that one, but I'm gonna, like, I really want to see if price is gonna push down a little lower before having a buy move. And again, this is kind of watch the DXY with this one too, because if the DXY does start to sell, then we would see a buy on AUDUSD. AUDJPY, I think you guys might have missed this trade because I remember marking this up on Monday, and I actually got in my entry like as I was recording, and I think it literally hit CP as I uploaded the video. So you guys might have missed that entry. So I apologize for that, but kind of the same thing I had for AUDUSD. I drew a trend line. When price broke below this trend line, you could have slowed down to this next zone. And then price actually bounced above that zone and started making a buy trend line. So I think I would have started looking for buys here once I saw prices really respecting that trend line, and I would have bought to this zone. I did, excuse me, I did have a bigger overall fib, and price came to the 50 of that fib. And once price broke below this trend line, I probably would have been looking for sales. As AUDUSD is consolidating like this, I'm really not looking for entries. If we break above this zone, then I would be looking for buys to this top zone. But I want to see if price is going to come down back to this zone. So I really don't have a clear setup for AUDUSD just because it's really stuck in the consolidation. So I want for it to break out of this consolidation before I can like give a trade. EURUSD. So I was looking for buys on EURUSD, but I was like, I'm not sure if it's done selling yet. So I wanted it to break above this zone for buys. It did not. So you could have entered sales once it broke. It actually broke and retested this zone. And it just fell like no tomorrow. But we kind of finally bottomed out at this monthly level here. We ultimately hit that minus 61.8 on my bigger fib. So now I just drew a new trend line. So I really want price to break above this 1 hour trend line, but you can enter if we break above this minor trend line that I have here. So if we get a break, like a clean break and retest of this trend line, we can buy up to this next trend line. And then if we break that trend line, I will be buying up to my next zone. So that's kind of what I have for EURUSD. And then if you see divergence, that would be extra confirmation on that as well. For GJ, we're already starting to get divergence on the 15-minute. So I want to break and retest of this minor trend line to get in for a buy, and I would just be buying up to this next zone. Last week I actually had GJ. I didn't trade GJ. I think price was around here. I said you could buy up to this trend line. Price ultimately respected this trend line, so you actually could have sold, zone to zone. So down to this zone. Once price broke that zone, go to your next zone, and then ultimately went down to like my weekly level. Then we started to make this uptrend. Once price broke above, it broke and retested. You could have gotten to a buy to the next zone. So really just taking GJ zone to zone, but I will be cautious before entering in on this buy. Really making sure we break and retest this line before you get in. And then if we break below, this trend line and we break below the zone, then you could just take it to the next zone down. And really just keep it simple zone to zone. Like I said, be cautious this week because it's volatile. So get your goal of pips. If it's 50 pips, 100 pips, your goal for the weekend, and kind of just sit out the market. So for gold, I think last week price was around here. I was looking to buy to this zone, maybe up to this trend line. We did get close to the top of the zone and we broke below. I know I did say if we break below this zone to sell to this next zone, but you kind of have to like TP along the way, because that's a lot of pips on gold. But yeah, once price broke back above this zone, you could have bought to this next zone. Then I saw 15-minute divergence. So I would have been looking for sales, either, right when I saw the divergence or when it broke below this zone for extra confirmation. And then I would have just been taking that zone to zone. So back to this trend line, just in case this was going to be a break and retest, like to continue up for the buy. Once we, got confirmation, it broke back below the trend line, then I would have been taking it to this next zone. Now, even though we have 15-minute divergence on gold already, I actually would be cautious to see if it's going to come down into this level. This is my minus 27 for my bigger fib. Price actually turn around like the 50, 61.8 area, which is where I'm looking for price to turn around. So that was confirmation for the sell as well. Sorry, and just so you can see, this was my A to B for that fib, and then price came back to like my 50 and had divergence. So I had confirmation. But this is my minus 27. Price could come to my minus 61.8. So I want to be cautious. But if we do break and retest this trend line that I have here, then you could be looking for buys for gold up to this zone. And if we break above there, back up to this next zone. So those are all my pairs. Because I wanted to keep it short this week. So hopefully that was short and simple to the point. I will be trying to release more videos throughout the week. Like I said, I'm working on like a beginner's videos for my super beginner people. So that's going to be coming soon. So you can kind of keep up with me. And I'm also still working really hard on my beginner's course. And I'm working on bringing pivots back into the mix and really kind of diving into pivots and how I use it and all that good stuff. So hopefully you guys are catching pips along with me. It's okay if you get worked out. Don't be scared to hop back into your trades because I've experienced some wicks last week myself. And yeah, I will see you guys again next Monday. Happy trading, and let's have blue weeks.